welcome back, Steve.
Thank you.
And we're on Psalm 27 now. One of the things for me is right off, there's language in here I recognize.
Yes.
It's got some great lines. The first line is wonderful as well.
Yes, the Lord is my strength and my salvation. Who shall I fear? I mean, it sounds like a cheer almost.
Right.
Fear is an interesting category to find in the Old Testament. We are much more preoccupied with emotions and how emotions work. If you read the Old Testament, you don't get a lot of emotion conversation. And that pushes you to ask, why talk about fear? One of the things to keep in mind is that this is a society that really requires patrons. Every person should have an appropriate patron. And the psalmist is saying, if you're wise, the Lord will be your patron.
Who would somebody think is their patron if it's not going to be the Lord? Is it a relative, somebody who has more money or security or land?
The king could be a patron. Someone who is a general, wealthy landowner.
Mm-hmm.
And you see in the culture of the region a sort of network of patrons.
Okay.
And so that each person had a patron and they built up sort of hierarchies.
So what's the message? God as patron versus general, king, landowner as patron.
God as patron is there for the long haul. Landowner as patron is there until someone displaces the landowner. King is there until someone displaces the king. Remember, this is a context where they did foreign policy through assassination. And so a king as a patron was only sort of dependable. A landowner has the same dependability, but the Lord has ongoing dependability as a patron. With that sort of dependability, then why should a person fear?
Mm-hmm.
The structures are set up for the safety of anyone who has the right patron. The psalm also continues, the Lord is my safe place, the safe place of my life. Who shall I dread? Some translations render that, who shall I be terrorized by? In a post 9/11 world, this psalm really speaks to us because we've been reminded of the contingent nature of our own lives. And in the midst of that awareness, there is a desire, a contemporary desire, to have the right patron.
Mm-hmm. Where do we put this context, and what's that tell us about God today?
We don't have the same sorts of patronage systems, but we do have some ways in which we fear things that aren't worthy of our fear. We're often afraid that if we don't have the right stuff, then we'll be in a difficult situation. This psalm says, at that point, we're fearing the wrong stuff. And that the patronage, the relationship with God, becomes an insulation between us and dysfunctional fear.
Mm-hmm. So it's like our desire to fit in to society, to be accepted by the social group of friends that we might have or might yearn for, or whatever. This is beginning to teach us that that's the wrong attainment we're looking for. That's the wrong patron. That's a false god, if you will.
It's a false god.
Yeah.
It also reminds us that in a time when we're deeply aware of how random violence might reach into our lives unexpectedly, there is nonetheless a patron that that is there for us and continues with an abiding mercy and an abiding loyalty in a world with dysfunctional fears and a world with very real fears about our physical safety. In both of those cases, the best response is a close and clear relationship with the Lord, according to the psalmist.